Okay, so one major problem that I have with the baler right off the bat is the tucker fingers are seized up. Yeah, seized up. They do not follow the cam, and there is a spring on it, and they should be, free. There should be no issues with that, but there is. The other problem that there is, and I'm going to talk to you here, is the twine tensioners. Now there's upper twine tensioners and lower twine tensioners. Okay, so twine tension is probably more important than anybody's got any idea. I mean, every little piece of this thing has to be just right in order for it to work correctly. If it's not just right, it will not work correctly, and that's just the cold hard fact of it. Isn't there maybe we should break out that box of shit, but the PB blaster stuff, we will later. Anyway, what happens with these older balers and their twine tensioners were that they weren't on bushings, or they weren't on bearings, they were on bushings. And what happens is, because these things are super dusty environments, those dirt gets between dirt, water. This thing has obviously sat outside many years, in and out. I don't know that it sat out its entire life, but at some portion of its life, and I'm thinking it was the original owner's life. You get a pry bar?
No.
And the original owner left it outside the first part of its life, because I don't think the second owner did. I mean, it was in a building there, and it didn't have a rotten bale in it like it should have had if it was left outside. So I just kind of think that the original owner left it outside. Well, water gets in those rollers, and I'll show them to you here. They are here, and nobody has made any adjustments whatsoever to these twine tensioners. They are actually quite loose. And I'm going to pull this backwards a little bit, okay? So that one actually feels a little bit freer than the others. This one here is ridiculously tight. What we're going to do is Joe is going to pull a portion of twine through those, and I'm going to work him back and forth while squirting WD-40 into there, because the tension that is supposed to be on these rolls is 15 pounds. It's 15 pounds of pull, and there's more like 50 pounds of pull. So if you take 50 pounds here and 50 pounds down below, it's really hard on the needles and other components in the knotter, which will also cause missed knots. Go ahead and pull that, Joe. Okay, hold on now. I'm going to shoot that full of oil. You just kind of want to... I'm just going to shoot it full of WD-40 if I can. And hopefully that stuff will creep in there. And what I'll do is I'll pull it backwards. And Joe will pull it forward. Pulling easier, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. So, with a little bit of rust. Oh, yeah, that's exactly where it needs to be. About like that. It feels really pretty good. So, if you buy one of these balers that's set outside and you can't seem to iron down or figure out why the knotters aren't working, or why you're breaking strings, or why they're just not peeling off of the bill hook, it's because of your twine tension. Go ahead and pull that back, Joe. Feels a lot easier, right?
So much easier.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to make sure that your twine tension is where it needs to be. Go ahead and pull some more, Joe. Keep pulling. Keep pulling. There you go.
Why not have to pull a knot through?
Because I said so. That's good right there. All right, so yeah. Start douching it down with WD-40. Soak them up. I say do exactly what I've done. Seems to work pretty good. The reason I'm saying do it exactly the way I've done it is because if you take out the string, it's very difficult to get it back where it belongs. So if you do it the way I'm doing it, you probably won't have too much trouble.
Jesus.
What's that?
There's one on the end here.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, it's not even moving. I'm pulling the string right through it.
Yeah, well that's a problem. So here, let me pull it backwards. Oh God. Go ahead, pull, because it just slipped out of its spot. Alright, so I think the two end ones, see, this one's completely seized. That will cause you to never tie a knot. Ever tie a knot. Alright, so if you ever want to put these back in, it just takes one of these pry bars and about 2 seconds worth of your time. And go ahead, Joe, give her a pull. Nope, it's not gonna. Go ahead again.
Let me get a better grip on here, and I'm gonna pull it out again.
Alright, we got the upper one free. Alright, so I'm gonna put this camera down and I'll get back to you when I'm done loosening. We've got these things all loosened up, and you can see there's bits of string. Orange string that I don't have. Small ones, not big ones. I need the tiny ones. Yeah, out of that plastic thing. It can be white, I don't care. Oh, and I found the problem with the Tucker fingers as to why they weren't retracting. Not really too big of a deal, but there was bent pieces. What I'm going to do here is kind of put you down. This is a pain in the ass to do this, you know that? Alright. So there's that. And those things should be retracting farther than that, I think, but if I had money to bet, I think I need to bend that just a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. They should be retracted enough that the knot or the needle doesn't hit it. Oh, come on. Okay. I don't think you saw anything. Alright. No, I need them on the other side. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so might as well start the tractor up and let it run through its cycle.
Okay.
Because we're halfway through. I have to put down I gotta put the knotter down before we get into that. So I'm seeing that it's slightly in. That's no different than the others. As long as that needle comes up past it, it's gonna be a bit of a bitch, but I'm thinking I can bend that a little bit more upwards, and that'll lengthen it out and get this little tip here out of the way, because that's what's in the way. So give me a second. Okay, so I just replaced the upper rollers. This is what was in here. They were a solid roller with a worthless bushing and a worthless bolt. So this has been superseded by other things like the bearing style roller with a 1/4 inch 20 bolt. And yeah, that should work out a lot easier, because these things, if you look at them, even from new, they were cocked off to the side. See that? They never actually ran true in there. And, you know, I mean, you can see it. They just never ran true in there. So that was a shitty design. So I've replaced all of those. I've got the needles, all but one needle, sent up through the knotters. And this is how you replace the rollers in here. Now listen. These are the bearing styles, I believe, but they're, look at that. Are you doing something?
Yeah, sure.
Downstairs. Okay. So I'm going to replace these first, and then I'm going to show you a big problem with these knotters. And New Holland figured it out a few series ago, and I'm pretty sure, well, Krone has as well. But right here, these needles bend inward, and it makes it really hard for it to catch that string. So if that string isn't quite where it belongs, it could slip past the needle. So after I get the new rollers in there, which I'm going to do right now, I will flare this out just a little bit. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, it just has to be enough that it is either straight or even flared. New Holland is actually, and that's one thing with their New Holland needle design, is pretty much superior to anything I've ever seen on a Heston. But the rolls are wider by about twice, so it catches it, and it's tapered to the center. So it catches up top, and then it will roll to the center of the roller, or to one side of the roller, where it will be in line with the twine discs. But these are actually double thick and flared outward to catch that string. You will never have a knotter miss, or a string miss the needles. And they're all bent like that, so it's just something you have to look at. And I can show you, I've straightened out a needle already. Replaced the springs on the top there. These are very weak. This is a stinking floppy cock flywheel fly door spring. Here's the pins that were in it. These are not original pins, not even close to original pins. This is another pin that was in there, and as you can see, they are two different sizes. Not a good idea. These are the actual pins that belong in there. Okay, so that's longer. Can get in the way of stuff. I'm almost certain that this is what crushed the needle. I don't think so, though. No, that didn't crush the needle, but it wasn't. Could have been a contributing factor, because these will move too far when the pins aren't the right size. I'm actually going to replace those in the Krone as well. They're bolts, and there's little straps that are on hooks, and they're worn, and there's a lot of wear in the Krone that I'm going to actually repair this one. Now here's another thing. The twine discs are really, really loose. You'll have a lot of missed knots with that, so I'm going to loosen these up and crank them down nice and tight, possibly even replacing the springs for the twine discs, adding a third spring. I don't know why this only has two. The Krone has three. I think the New Hollands had three of them, but doubled up, that's okay, but they're not even tight. They're not even close to tight. They're quite loose, and that'll allow the string to slip in the twine discs, and you won't have the pressure that is required to hold the twine. It will slip out, and you'll have problems. So that's another thing that needs to be done. Okay, so I've got everything done on these 5 needles. Timothy's going to drop them back down with the tractor, and I'm going to put the new needle in here. But as you can see, I've spread each one of these. That only catches one string, the string that comes off of these up here where the new rollers are there. So yeah, sure, I'm ready, Tim. Hopefully they should just retract and be done. I just wanted to reset. There's so many things wrong with this thing. Excellent. So everything seems to be working okay. I don't know what the hell that was, but tucker fingers go up, they come back down and tuck again. Excellent. Uh-oh. That's normal because the clutch brake. Everything seems to be working okay there. He'll shut it off. And we will put the new, that's just the dog coming around on the stuffer fork, banging, no big deal. So we'll put the needle back in, the one that I straightened out, and then we'll run them up and see how close it is. And then that'll be it.